Hello and welcome to the Blue Shadow Podcast. My name is Joey.
I am Dan, and today we're going to talk about Lego Star Wars. Specifically,
Woo!
I know, if you guys haven't listened to us before, Joey and I are both big Lego fans. Any Lego. And then being coupled with a Star Wars fan makes it great for us, horrible for our wallets.
Absolutely.
And something we're both actually very into are the Lego Microfighters.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what they are, I highly recommend that you guys look it up. Google, Bing, whatever we're using today. I don't know, people using DuckDuckGo.
Ask Jeeves like Parks and Rec.
Ask Jeeves. So what a Lego Microfighter is, it's a, for lack of a better term, a micro fighter. It's a very miniature it's a scaled down version of a fighter of some sort of ship in Star Wars that does come with a life-size minifigure, not life-size, a proper size minifigure of the person piloting that ship.
I always think it's like a Mario Kart version of a particular ship.
It is that dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And the ships are usually have pretty good detail.
And they are always true to the ship they're trying to make.
Yes, and they're relatively inexpensive when they come out.
Compared to other things.
Yes. And I have a bad habit of making them my desk decorations at work.
It's not a bad habit. It's a good habit.
It's a bad habit.
It's a good habit.
It's a habit.
I have a lot of Funko Pops on my desk at work. But
anyway.
we kind of wanted to talk today about like the state of them. So I want to go through like how many have been released since they were debuted in 2014 and how the trend of how it's going. So I have the numbers that were produced. In 2014, they made 6 of these sets. In 2015, they made 6 of them. 2016, 6. Then in 2017 and 18, they made 4. In 19 and 20, they made 3 each. 21, they made 2. 2022, they made 1. 2023, they made 2. And then 2024, they made 1. And one thing I want to point out here is that these microfighters went from more broad. It was like an AT-AT with an AT-AT pilot, an X-Wing with a Rebel pilot, to nowadays in the last 3 years, 22, 23, 24, they have only produced named characters, that being Captain Rex, Boba Fett, Mandalorian and Grogu in the N1, and then Mandalorian in the Razor Crest. Yes. So I just wanted to see, like, gauge your temperature, Dan. What do you think about the shift into making less of them and the shift to making more named characters?
I'm not a huge fan of it. I am currently looking at all of the microfighters. Mm-hmm. And the first pair to come out was the Clone Turbo Tank Microfighter and the AAT, which is the Separatist Droid Tank Microfighter. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, the Clone Turbo Tank Microfighter is $70 now.
Yet people, they skyrocket up in value after they retire.
It is the most,
from being a relatively inexpensive.
It is the most expensive one on this list that they have produced.
It's surprising to me, but
the next closest one is $40.
What list are you on?
It's called Temple of Bricks, and it's a place where you can buy them.
What about the Ghost?
It's hyperlinked. Sorry, I realized I pulled away. The Ghost is only $25.50.
That's insane.
The most expensive one is a Clone Turbo Tank at $70, and that is set number 75028. It is the first microfighter they made.
Maybe that could something to do with the age. But for me, Go ahead.
And then the next most expensive one is the Escape Pod and Dewback combined set. So you get 3 actual figures in there.
That was something I did want to talk to you about, was like the combined sets. But what's the third one before we do that?
Kylo Ren's Microfighter at $39.95. Is
it the Rise of Skywalker one?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that figure with the cracked helmet was only released in 2 sets.
Yeah.
But for me, I wanted to see what you thought about like the dual sets as well. Kind of speaking of that, like they had like the Kylo Ren and then a Resistance pilot, like from The Last Jedi. They had a crate ski speeder and the ATM 6 walker. Do you have any of those?
I do not. I've always seen them in the stores. I just was like kind of acting like a little snob. Personally, I'm like, I don't want that. I want the bigger set. I want the real set. And now here I am years later, like, I kind of want that. That's sweet. Didn't know it'd be appropriate to have on your work desk.
Financially and space-wise, they are very, very valuable. For me, though, you said you're not a big fan of the shift into more named characters. I am the exact opposite. I am the kind of person who wanted the Rex minifigure, but I was not going to pay the price to get the Rex minifigure from the Big Venator set.
Yes.
So for me, and we're going to actually use this as a transition to talk about one of our things that we're doing that's kind of new on our YouTube channel. We recently did a Lego race with the Rex Microfighter. So we both opened the set at the same time, started building, we put a little time lapse on it. So please feel free, if you're listening to this, to take a look at that and see us duke it out on the Lego building battleground. But we did that. Mm-hmm. My Rex is now up on my shelf next to my Ahsoka. The build is, I put in a bin.
Yeah.
So for me, the Microfighters are an avenue to get the figures I want. Not so much displaying them. But I do have like the Boba Fett still in his ship.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It does. And I think they're nice for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a great little set, especially for somebody who's looking to get into Lego.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're a Star Wars fan, and you know Lego Star Wars is the thing. I mean, there's specials. There's Rebuild the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Lego Star Wars in Fortnite.
Yeah.
And then Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga video game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're somebody who wants to get into building actual Legos, these are a great avenue to get in there. They're relatively cheap when they come out. They come out with, like you said, now they're coming out with named characters.
Mm-hmm. That have previously been in one of the most expensive sets that they've made.
What's your thought about that? What do you feel?
Give the figures to the people.
Fair enough.
I right now want the Cal Kestis figure that came in the Star Destroyer that was released on August 1st, 2024. He's $90. And I don't want to spend that. And I don't know if I'm going to end up getting it and caving or holding out in hopes that they put him somewhere else. Maybe in a different outfit or something. But I think I don't like the idea of gatekeeping figures in more expensive sets just for the sake of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this gives a great avenue. You're talking about for the adult collector. Even for kids, like if I wanted Kylo Ren, I wouldn't want to have to buy the $150 Kylo Ren shuttle set from the Rise of Skywalker. I would have loved to walk into the store, grab the Kylo Ren Microfighter, and whether I use the ship or not, I have the figure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you pair it with the Rey from a cheaper set, and then they can fight.
Yeah.
So I think there's just tremendous value in this. I'm disheartened by the decrease in quantity of them. I told you we went from having 6 a year to having 4 a year to having 3 a year to now having only 1 or 2 a year.
Well, and I think that goes back to them limiting the number of things they're putting out. They want exclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are truly moving towards named characters, they want you to buy the bigger set.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to buy the $800 Venator where you get Rex with it.
That's what. See, I feel like if Rex was an $150 set, they'd be less likely to make it these days.
Mm-hmm.
But if Rex is in the $800 set, they're like, you know what, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But for me, I wish they made a little more, and I want to ask 2 questions to kind of round out this brief discussion. The first is, what is your favorite Microfighter?
That I own or that I...
Of the entire collection.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
While you're looking up, I can give mine if that would.
Yes, please do.
So my favorite one, to probably no one's surprise, and the only one that I still have actively displayed on the shelf is the Ghost. This is the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels. It's not on the shelf you're looking at. It's on the shelf upstairs. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, I figured.
It come with Hera, and it's the cutest little ghost, and I love it. And it was at the time Hera was only available in one set, which was the original Ghost that I didn't end up getting. So it was a way for me to get Hera, represent that ship and Lego, which I thought was awesome. And it's truly one of my favorite ones. I do like some of the other ones. I was kind of rattling on about the generic nature of the ships that I didn't love as much, but I love the AT-AT because it's kind of like, it looks like a puppy and you can like pose it. So I like them for that they, when the build is like the star of the show.
Yes. Or
the minifigure. Like sometimes I think it is just kind of an avenue for the minifigure. But did you come to a conclusion?
These are tough because I like ships.
Mm-hmm.
Joey knows I like ships.
And if I were buying Lego, I would buy a scene, a diorama.
Yeah, you like the landscapes. I like the ships. There's actually 2 Kylo Ren ones.
Yeah, one from The Last Jedi and then one from Rise of Skywalker. The Last Jedi one is like his like kind of like modified tie.
Yeah, with him helmet off.
And the Rise of Skywalker one is like the one with the wide, like the wings that are in the shape of a V. Notice how I phrased that very, very carefully.
Yes. This really is tough. I'm gonna say this just because. Do you want to guess, Joey?
Millennium Falcon with Han Solo, the most recent one.
Star Destroyer.
Ah,
should have gotten that one.
I should have gotten that one. With a generic Imperial officer.
But it doesn't have to be generic. You can put any figure in there.
You're gonna grab a Thrawn and throw it in there.
No, I'm gonna grab a Darth Vader.
Oh, fair enough. Do you have this?
No.
How much is that running for?
25. No, not worth it.
You could probably buy the pieces for cheaper and make it.
Yeah.
Slap a Darth Vader in there.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
What do you think is the most produced microfighter based on how many times it was made?
Mandalorian Razor Crest.
No, I mean like variants of it.
Oh. X-Wing.
Technically it's the TIE Fighter.
That I knew it was one of those two.
Because I mean, but how specific do you want to get?
I would have said an X-Wing, either sequel or original era.
I mean, there's a TIE Interceptor. There are TIE Advanced, TIE Striker.
Kylo's TIE. Yeah, it's probably TIE Fighter.
Yeah. Followed by none other than the Millennium Falcon. So I think we have 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, there are 3, I think. I said Razor Crest because I think that one was on the shelf for a really, really long time. I thought you were talking about like most.
That's why I tried to correct it.
Sorry.
Quick.
That's where that came from. But I want to leave us on a question of what do you want from this in the future? Do you want to start seeing waves of 6 again that are more like deeper cut ships?
What's the cost ratio going to be? Is it going to be $9.99?
They're never going to be $9. They're like
$15.
$12 right now.
Or, yeah.
$15 for Mandalorian and Grogu because it came with 2 figures and they could.
Mm-hmm.
I think 12 is like Rex was like 12 or 13.
I think it was $12.99.
Mm-hmm.
Would you? I'm going to answer your question with a question to answer your question. Goodness, I felt like that was something out of Parks and Rec. I felt like Pert Hapley.
A little bit.
Would you rather see, if you got to pick, generic microfighters that allowed to be released 6 times a year, or named microfighters with 2 a year?
Named 2 a year, 100%.
Interesting.
I prefer a inexpensive way to get the minifigures.
Can't wait till we get the Zeb Ghost.
Zeb is one of my white whales.
Zeb's Razor Crest.
Zeb's Razor Crest from Mandalorian and Grogu. It could be. It's not out yet.
Could be.
2 years. Counting down the days.
We'll get a timer.
Oh, man. Well, anything else to add on Microfighters?
Let us know your favorite microfighter, if you have them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear it.
Tell us which one you want to get to start your collection.
Or if there's one that has not been made that you would like.
Yes.
Purely because I want Cal Kestis. The Mantis with the Cal Kestis is kind of my current dream one.
I would do Dooku's. Oh. The figures.
The Solar Sailor one?
Dang hard to come by.
And you put it with that cool build. That would be nifty.
Would be nifty.
Dang, awesome.
That's me being, I want the figure.
So we did the same thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, we mentioned, please consider looking at our Lego race video for the Rex Microfighter on our YouTube channel. That's Blue Shadow. And we really appreciate you for listening. Please consider giving us a subscription on YouTube or the podcast platform of your choice. And please consider giving us a follow on Twitter or X at Blue Shadow Pod or on Instagram at Blue Shadow Podcast. And we thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you.